birthday to you.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Robbie.G Show podcast. That's right, we are live. It is Thursday, May 9th, and if today is your birthday, happy birthday to all of you out there. And here's some celebrities that share a birthday with you today. Billy Joel turns 75. Ghostface Killah from the Wu-Tang Clan is 54. Actress Rosario Dawson turns 45. Actress Allie Mills from the Wonder Years turns 73. Amy Hill turns 71. And Dave Gahan turns 62. So happy birthday to all of them, and a happy birthday to everybody that's celebrating a birthday today. This is Thursday. It's exciting. Thirsty Thursday. It's almost the weekend. I hope everybody's having a great week. Let's talk some fun stuff today. We're going to talk some entertainment news and, of course, some sports. Not a lot happened in the sports world. We did have the Kentucky Derby we'll talk about. WWE Backlash in France was off the hook. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, the NBA and NHL playoffs. No real football news to talk about right now. We are going to talk a little baseball, too, though. We'll see where the season is right now. We are over a month into the Major League Baseball season, so we'll see where all the teams are sitting right now in the standings. We also got some movie news for releases last week at the box office. And then, of course, I also found 23 summer movies that are coming out this summer that everybody has to see. So we'll talk about those. And then, of course, my review. I'm doing the band Veruca Salt this week. So let's get into it. Let's talk some NBA and NHL playoffs. Alright, so in the NHL playoffs, the round 1 is officially over. We are officially into round 2. I'll talk about that in a second, but here's how round 1 went. The Dallas Stars beat the Vegas Golden Knights 4-3 in the first round. Colorado beat Winnipeg 4-1. Vancouver beat Nashville 4-2. And Edmonton beat the LA Kings 4-1 in the East. Wait, hold on. Make sure that's the East. That's the West. Sorry. I'm a little turned around with the East and the West. But, alright, so the Eastern Conference NHL playoffs, it was Florida 4-1 over Tampa Bay Lightning. Boston won in a 7-game series, 4-3 over Toronto. The New York Rangers swept Washington 4-0, and Carolina won theirs 4-1 over the New York Islanders. In the second round right now, Colorado is up against Dallas 1-0 so far in their series. And then Vancouver has a 1-0 lead over the Edmonton Oilers. New York Rangers up 2-0 in their series over Carolina, which means they are 6-0 right now in the playoffs. They have not lost a game yet. And then 1-1 tie with Boston and Florida over in the Eastern Conference. So NHL playoffs going pretty good. They're in the second round. Obviously, winners go on to the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, but we got a long way to go in those series. In fact, by the time I do the show next week, a few of those series might be over, but not all of them. Obviously, I believe there will be Game 7s coming up in the second round, but New York Rangers, man, 6 games already. They've won. They're 6-0. That's amazing. So we'll see what they do. Will Carolina get anything, or will they sweep through that series too? Let's move on now to the NBA playoffs. Alright, so the first round in the Western Conference went like this for all the NBA playoff brackets. We had the Oklahoma City Thunder. They won 4-0 over the Pelicans. Dallas won their series over the Clippers 4-2. Let's see, the Timberwolves swept the Suns 4-0 in their series, and the Denver Nuggets, of course, beat the Lakers 4-1 in theirs. In the East, the Boston Celtics won their series 4-1. Cleveland beat the Magic 4-3. They went to 7 in that series. The Indiana Pacers won 4-2 in theirs over the Bucks, and then the Knicks won 4-2 over the 76ers in their series. The conference semifinals right now, as of now in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder lead the Dallas Mavericks 1-0 in their best-of-7 series. Minnesota Timberwolves are 2-0 against the Nuggets already, the defending champions. That's amazing. I have a feeling the Nuggets are getting bounced out. But I think that's still going to be a 6-game series. I don't think the Nuggets are going to lay down in that series. And then in the East, the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. Boston leads that series 1-0. And then the Pacers and Knicks. The Knicks lead 2-0 over the Pacers right now. I think the Knicks could win the championship this year. Everybody's going to call Boston, but you know what? I'll say this. And I did call Boston at the beginning too. But the New York Knicks are proving they are here and they are ready to go. I kind of wish Derrick Rose was still there so he had a chance to win. But, things happen, and, we'll see what happens in that series. But 2-0, that's a pretty decent lead going into Indianapolis. If Indiana loses 1 game at home, I think that's going to be it for them. Like I said, not a lot of news going on in the sports world. Let's talk a little bit about baseball right now. So let's look up the MLB standings. Alright, so in Major League Baseball right now, here's how the standings are looking. We are a little over a month into the Major League Baseball season, started in April. We're in May, so let's see where we're at a little over a month in. In the divisions in the American League, we'll start out with the American League East. Baltimore has 24-12 on the season right now in first place. The New York Yankees right behind them at 25-13. Boston behind them in third place at 19-18. The Tampa Bay Devil Rays are in fourth place in their division at 19-19, and the Toronto Blue Jays are 17-20 right now, holding up the rear of that division. In the Central Division, the Cleveland Indians are 24-13. Minnesota's 21-15 in second place. Kansas City is 22-16. Detroit is 19-18 in fourth place, and the lowly Chicago White Sox, my team, is 9-28 right now, coming up last place. In fact, they're last place in the entire conference, in the American League Conference. So that's crazy. Let's see. In the AL West, we got Texas at 22-17. Seattle coming in second at 20-17. Oakland is 18-21 in third place. The LA Angels are 14-23, and Houston is 12-24 in last place. In the National League, and this is the East, we got Philadelphia sitting at 26-12. Atlanta is 22-12. The New York Mets are 18-18. So is Washington, 18-18. And Miami coming up in the rear at 10-29. In the American National League West, we've got the LA Dodgers at 26-13 in first place. They're 6.5 games ahead of San Diego. Padres are 20-20. Arizona is 17-20. San Francisco in fourth place at 17-21, and Colorado with the worst record in the entire Major League Baseball with 8-28. And then in the National League Central Division, Milwaukee Brewers, 21-15. The Chicago Cubbies are 22-16 right now, tied for first with the Brewers. Pittsburgh at 17-21. Cincinnati at 16-20, and then St. Louis is last place at 15-21. They got swept by the Chicago White Sox. That's how bad they are right now. But yeah, the Chicago White Sox are 9-28, and then of course Colorado was 8-28. So really, actually, by like half a game, the Sox are not the worst team in the entire Major League Baseball right now, but only by like a half a game. Because if you look at the overall right now of it, the White Sox are right at the bottom and literally a half game ahead of Colorado for the worst place team in the entire major leagues. Sox are not just losing, they're making it an art form. They've been shut out of at least 10 games so far. They haven't scored even a run. I mean, it's just really bad. Really bad. And actually, I might be wrong on that. I haven't been keeping up enough to know if it's more than that, but at one point they were already at 8 or 9 shutouts, and they've had a few since then. So they may even be more than 10, but yeah, it's really not good. And I really hope that they turn it around. I hate to see any Chicago team struggle that bad. Really. The only football news I really have today is that yesterday at the Chicago Sky's last preseason game, Caleb Williams, Keenan Allen, and Rome Odunze were there to support the Chicago Sky in their preseason game. And I love to see that, especially because these are 3 brand new Chicago Bears. These are 3 brand new guys who are new to the city and new to the team, and they're trying to be supportive of the city, being at different games. Caleb Williams was at the Cubs game a few days ago. So, I mean, it's nice seeing them represent the city that they're going to be playing in, and it's nice to see teams crossing over to other, stuff and going to see it. And that's always happened, but it's cool to see it when it does. CM Punk goes to a lot of Blackhawks games. He's a big Blackhawks fan. I know a lot of Bears players go to Bulls games, and I've seen him at Hawks games and baseball games, so it's really cool seeing that happen. And I know some of the WNBA players have went and supported the Chicago Bears and the Cubs and stuff like that too, so really cool to see. But just wanted to throw that out there. Alright, let's go into the Kentucky Derby. Oh my gosh, this was a crazy day. So the Kentucky Derby was the 150th running of it. And I was just imagining this, and I told this to my wife when we were watching the Kentucky Derby that day. 150 years of it. That is older than that's older than everybody that's in this world right now. There is nobody that was alive during the first all the way till, well, you got to think, if somebody's 107 years old, I think the oldest person that I saw is like 107 or 110. That's like 40 years before they were born was the first Kentucky Derby. That's crazy. 150 years of it, and it was a photo finish. What a race that was. And I was excited. I won $195 with the Kentucky Derby because I actually went for Mystic Dan. A lot of people would wonder, why would you go for that? Well, number one, there's 2 reasons I went for Mystic Dan. The first reason was because my brother-in-law, who passed away on my wife's side, he was named Dan. Okay, and me and him were close, and I really enjoyed my time that I got to spend with him and everything, and knowing it was his name, okay, and I was just like, the Mystic part got me too. I was like, oh, Mystic Dan, that's like a really cool name. So I'm like, I told my wife I'm gonna put $10 on him to win. I wasn't going to do win, place, or show. I wasn't going to do 3 different horses or any of that. I was just like, I'm going to put it $10 on him straight up to win. And it was an 18-1 shot. But number 2 reason I always go for the long shots is that's how you make your money. You're not going to make money off of the favorite because the ones that are the favorites have like very bad like payouts, like 9-2, stuff like that. So it's like, yeah, you don't really win anything if you put down $10. You have to put down a lot of money on the favorite to win anything really good. So I was just like, no, I'm going to do a long shot. And I was looking through the list, and then I saw that, and then I'm like, you know what, yeah. And then I was like, maybe I'll go with somebody else. But then I was like, nope, I'm putting $10 on Mystic Dan. And lo and behold, he won it by a nose, which was the craziest thing. So here was the 2024 Kentucky Derby finishings with purse and how much they made. Mystic Dan came in number 1, $3.1 million. Sierra Leone got $1 million for coming in second. Forever Young came in number 3 at $500,000. Catching Freedom came in at number 4, made $250,000. And the number 5 horse was T.O. Password, and that was $150,000. The rest of the race, it only shows the top 5 with the money. Number 6 was Resilience. Number 7 was Stronghold. Number 8 was Honor Marie. Number 9 was Endlessly. Number 10 was Dornock. Number 11 was Track Phantom. Number 12 was West Saratoga. Number 13 was Domestic Product. Number 14 was Epic Ride. Number 15 was Fierceness. Number 16 was Society Man. Number 17 was Just Steel. Number 18 was Grand Mo the First. number 19 was Catalytic, and number 20 was Just a Touch. So those were the 20 horses that were in the race and where they finished. But yeah, it was an amazing race, and I was excited because Mystic Dan took the lead, and then he gave up the lead for a little while. He was like number 3 and 4, and I was like, oh, well, he's probably not going to win, but that's okay, whatever. I just do it for fun. And here he comes. Someone was pushing him from behind. Could have been my brother-in-law in heaven, but I'm telling you now, someone was pushing that horse quicker, and he got all the way up to the front, took a big lead, then the other 2 horses caught up, and I was like, crap. And then, boom, he came out with the win by the nose. So it was an amazing race. I had fun watching it. Next race is early June. I'll probably bet on him again because I like to go for the horses that win the Kentucky Derby for the Triple Crown. You like to see them win it. I won some money betting 3 times on American Pharaoh when it won the Triple Crown. Doesn't happen every year, obviously, because if it did, then everybody would just keep voting on the same horse. But yeah, I would love to see it, so we'll see what happens with that. Put another 10 on it, no big deal. And we'll talk about that close to when the next race is. Let's see when the next horse race is. When is the next horse race? Let's see. The next big one. Let's see. I don't see it. I'll look it up and I'll let you guys know next time. But yeah, I think it's in June. It's like June and then July is the next one. So we'll see what happens. We'll see who's racing in that one, and we'll figure it all out. Finally, in sports, we're going to talk about WWE Backlash. What a great pay-per-view it was. It was amazing. The fans in France just were perfect. I can't even fathom a crowd in the U.S. being that great. We'll talk about that in a minute, but Backlash did set all-time company record for gate, which was crazy. A lot of people in there. France was off the hook. Here's the results and the winners of each match. The Bloodline defeated Randy Orton and Kevin Owens in a street fight. Turned out to be a street fight. It wasn't supposed to be. And yeah, so that was a good one. I knew there was going to be somebody coming in to interfere for the Bloodline. I did not. I was thinking Jacob Fatu. I did not know who it was. It was going to be somebody else from the Bloodline, and that was crazy. I don't even know who that guy is, honestly. I know Jacob Fatu. I don't even know who this guy is. But he was awesome, and he just came out there, and he nailed Randy Orton and stuff. It was great, just the way it should be. The Bloodline winning, I called that one. Bayley defeating Naomi and Tiffany Stratton for the WWE Women's title. Bayley won and retained her title. Didn't think they were going to change Bayley yet, and with that one, Damian Priest defeating Jey Uso for the WWE World title. I knew that was going to happen. Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defeating the Kabuki Warriors to become the new WWE Women's Tag Title Champions. I was actually shocked by that. I really didn't think they were going to pull the trigger on Jade that quick. I thought maybe it was going to be an interference from like Dakota or something, and they would, win the match or lose the match to the Kabuki Warriors. I didn't think that they'd even win by disqualification. I thought maybe it would be a disqualification on some side. But yeah, that was amazing. So I'm proud of Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. It's cool to see them champions. Hope they have a nice little run with it. And then, of course, we had Cody Rhodes defeating AJ Styles. Not a shocker. I didn't think any of the main titles are going to switch hands. I can tell you now, I knew we would not see Cody, Damian, or Bayley lose their titles that quick after WrestleMania. I believe Damian will lose his title to Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle. But yeah, I didn't think he was going to lose it to Jey Uso right now. Ticket sales. So the Backlash was in France's venue of the LDLC Arena. The Backlash tickets distributed was 12,621, and then the Backlash France tickets available at the time, there was 356 available, so they sold almost completely out. So that was amazing. It was Tama Tonga that showed up, and yeah, he helped the Bloodline win. That was pretty cool. I was like, who is this guy? I was like, who is this? I don't even know who that is. And he came in and he did his thing. I thought it was Jacob Fatu at first. I was like, oh, Jacob Fatu. And then I'm like, wait, that's not him. Because I've seen him. I know what he looks like. And I was like, wow, that was cool. So this Bloodline storyline's looking good. I think we're going to see, obviously, Roman come back at SummerSlam. I think he takes, like, this few months off. I think he'll come back, but not in a match at SummerSlam. I think he'll come back and interfere in a match at SummerSlam. Possibly something like, with the Bloodline, obviously. He's not going to interfere in a Cody match. I don't see The Rock and Cody at SummerSlam because I really think they would have started building already for it. But then again, it's only May, so they still have June and July. They really don't have to build that long because I think everybody pretty much already knows the storyline with that, the final boss and all that. So yeah, I could definitely see Rock and Cody. I don't know SummerSlam. I think maybe later on after that. Maybe Survivor Series. That'd be a cool match. They could do a one-on-one, even though, because they got the War Games, but they could also do that too, and that'll be pretty cool. Maybe even the Royal Rumble. I could see a Royal Rumble match with the two of them, because you're going to have 30 men in the Royal Rumble. You're going to have Roman Reigns possibly in the Royal Rumble match. Maybe he won't be there at all. I really think we'll see The Rock and Roman at WrestleMania. But I think that the big storyline at Survivor Series this year is going to be Bloodline versus Bloodline, and we're going to see Roman bring in the Usos and maybe one other guy to help him, and then maybe a Sami Zayn, possibly The Rock. People are saying it could be The Rock and Roman with the Usos versus Solo and Tama Tonga and, well, Jimmy Uso's not in there right now because he's going to go back with Jey Uso, so we're going to see that. But yeah, you're going to see the 4 against 4, and I think that's where Roman loses and then The Rock turns on him, and that turns into their WrestleMania match. I think there's going to be a big thing. I really do. So I think that might be why we might see Cody and Rock because he's going to have to do like a quick little face turn to go with Roman. And then do another heel turn, or maybe The Rock loses the match for them, and then Roman turns on The Rock and he becomes a heel again, because everybody loves heel Roman, so we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, so let's go into, the King and Queen of the Ring tournament. That's coming up in a couple of weeks. They've already started. Let's go over that really quick too. Alright, so the King and Queen of the Ring is going to be in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia at the Jeddah Superdome on May 25th. And that's going to be a good one. The promotional poster features Logan Paul, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Becky Lynch, Jade Cargill, and Bianca Belair. So, yeah, that's definitely going to be a bunch of people who are most likely going to be there. This will be the 11th event that the WWE will hold in Saudi Arabia under their 10-year partnership. Let's see. So far, these are the 4 matches that they have. The Raw bracket winner versus the SmackDown bracket winner for the King of the Ring tournament final. The Raw bracket winner and the SmackDown bracket winner at the Queen of the Ring tournament final. And then we've got Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan for the Women's World Championship. And then Sami Zayn versus Chad Gable and Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental title in a triple threat match. So those are matches that are already, it looks like, a go and ready to go for it. Here's what's going on so far in the tournament's first round. Gunther beat Sheamus in the first round of that, and Ricochet lost to Ilja Dragunov. Jey Uso also beat Finn Balor. So that is the brackets. So far, we've got 3 guys that went on. We still got Kofi Kingston and Rey Mysterio facing each other. We'll still have AJ Styles and Randy Orton. Baron Corbin versus Carmelo Hayes. LA Knight versus Santos Escobar. And Bobby Lashley is going to take on Tama Tonga for the King of the Ring tournament. So those matches will be on SmackDown May 10th, which is tomorrow. And then there will also be a couple at a WWE Live event, which that's amazing. Usually they do them on TV. They're also doing them at WWE Live events, which is cool. And that's May 11th and 12th, which is this weekend. So, yeah. And then on the women's side for the Queen of the Ring tournament, so far Io Sky beat Natalya. Let's see. Dakota Kai lost to Lara Valkyrie. And Zoe Stark beat Ivy Nile. So those are the three women so far that are going on. We still have Shayna Baszler versus Zelina Vega. And then there's a bunch of brackets that don't have any names yet. So I guess we don't know who those are going to be. But that's going to take place on SmackDown on May 10th. And then also at WWE Live events on the 11th and the 12th this weekend. So that's pretty cool. I think everybody's looking forward to it. It's going to be another early morning one, obviously, because it's in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So it's probably going to be like a 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning start. So get ready for that, another early morning one. I'll watch it, but I mean, I don't know if I'm going to get up as early as it'll be. We'll see if there's a start time. Hold on. Let me see if there's a start time for this. Alright, so in the United States Eastern Time, the countdown show will start at... it starts at noon Eastern, with a countdown show starting at 11 Eastern. So Eastern is an hour ahead of Chicago time. So it's 10 o'clock pre-show, 11 o'clock start time in the Chicagoland area. So that's crazy. We'll see what happens. Hopefully it's going to be good. We'll see. Obviously I do like the King and Queen of the Ring. I think it's cool. They are doing what they did before. I wasn't sure if they were going to do this, but they are just going to show the finals. So it'll just be the final 2 matches. So we will probably get a couple of title matches. Probably Cody. Maybe Damian Priest will defend his title against somebody. We'll see what they do there. We already know Becky Lynch, who did not defend her title in France, is going to defend her title in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. So we'll see what happens. We are all done with the sports segment of the show. Let's go into some fun little entertainment stuff. Alright, let's talk movie box office from last week. Here's the top 10 movies that were out in the theaters last week and how much they made. The number 10 spot was the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. It made $1.9 million last weekend with a total gross of $110 million in 7 weeks released. Number 9 was Abigail. In 3 weeks released, it did $2.3 million last week at the box office with a total gross of $23 million in the 3 weeks it's been open. Number 8 was Kung Fu Panda 4, and that did a weekend gross of $2.5 million last week, a total gross of $189 million in 9 weeks. Number 7 was Unsung Heroes, which made $3 million at the box office for a total gross of $14 million in 2 weeks released. Number 6 was Civil War. It made $3.4 million last week at the box office. Total gross of $62 million in 4 weeks. Number 5 was Godzilla and Kong, The New Empire. Made $4.5 million last weekend. Total gross of $189 million in 6 weeks released. Brand new movie came out at number 4 last week. At the number 4 spot was Tarot. It did a weekend gross of $6.5 million and a total gross of $7.7. Number 3 was the movie Challengers with Zendaya, with a weekend gross of $7.6 million, total gross $32 million in 2 weeks. Number 2 was the Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, which was re-released for May the 4th. They were just doing it for Star Wars Day. It did $8.7 million at the box office last weekend in the 1 week it was out. And total gross for the movie, this is funny, because it does the full total gross from the entire movie's run when it first came out and all the little runs after. So far at the box office, it's made $484 million. Star Wars Phantom Menace. And number 1 at the theater in its first week was Fall Guy. And that came in at $28 million in its first weekend with a total gross of $33 million. Very underwhelming for Fall Guy. People thought it was going to make a lot more, and it didn't. So, definitely go see it. I mean, I've heard it was pretty decent. I guess a lot of people just didn't want to go see it in the theater. I'll probably wait till it goes out in streaming or something. I'll watch it there. But it's with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt. They did do a funny skit a couple weeks ago singing about it, so we'll see what happens. Maybe this weekend it'll bump up a little bit, make a little more money, but usually the first couple weeks of a movie, they do their highest and then they start coming down. So we'll see what happens after that. So I got a little fun one that we're going to do really quick, and here it is. Here it is, 23 summer movies to watch in 2024. Let's see. So these are the movies that are coming out in the theaters and when they're coming out and who's the noteworthy cast. So here we go. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. So they're going to have another Mad Max movie coming out. Noteworthy cast is Anya Taylor-Joy and Chris Hemsworth. And the release date of that is going to be May 24th. Hitman. Release date, May 24th in theaters, June 7th on Netflix. So, like, about a week and a half later. Noteworthy cast, Glenn Powell and Adria Arjona. Let's see. The movie Babes is coming out. Release date, May 17th. Noteworthy cast is Ayanna Glazer and Michelle Blattou. It says, from Broad City... It says, if Alana from Broad City got knocked up, she might look a lot like Glazer Eden, a free-spirited 30-something navigating an unplanned pregnancy alongside her best friend Dawn. The film has the bawdy jokes you'd expect of an Epion comedy, but it's directed by Pamela Adlon. Also, as seen in the trailer, they set a breast pump on fire. So it looks good. June 7th, Bad Boys Ride or Die. Bad Boys 4 is coming out. Noteworthy cast, of course, is Will Smith, Martin Lawrence, and Vanessa Hudgens. And also, Martin Lawrence is going to have a new wife in that movie. Same character, but a new lady playing his wife, Teresa. I guess she didn't want to come back. I'm not doing a synopsis on every movie, but I'll do one on this one because it says that Smith and Lawrence are back as detectives Mike Larry and Marcus Burnett, now working to clear the name of upstanding Captain Conrad Howard, who, like Smith and Lawrence, has been making these movies since the 90s. This may be one of those cases where the press tour is every bit as interesting, if not more, than the movie itself. And that is, of course, because of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock. The Watchers comes out June 7th by M. Night Shyamalan. Oh, no, by Ishana Night Shyamalan. Noteworthy cast is Dakota Fanning. So, yeah, that's cool. Another Night Shyamalan doing a movie. The feature directorial debut of M. Night Shyamalan's daughter. That's going to be good. Kids movie coming out this summer, Inside Out 2. Coming out in June 14th. Noteworthy cast, Amy Poehler, Tony Hale, Mara Hawke, Ayo Abri, Phyllis Smith. And then a movie called The Bike Riders coming out on June 21st with Jodie Comer, Austin Butler, and Tom Hardy. Make sure you go check that one out. Kinds of Kindness. It's coming out June 21st. With Emma Stone. Definitely go see that. Anything with Emma Stone is pretty decent. There's a movie called Janet Planet coming out June 21st. The cast, Julianne Nicholson and Zoe Ziegler. A movie called Thelma is coming out June 21st. And that has June Squibb, Parker Posey, Clark Gregg, and Fred Hitchner. These are all movies. If you want to see the trailers, they're all released already, so go check them out. It's easier than giving synopsises for each of them. It's better to go check out the trailer to see if you like it. New movie coming out called Horizon, an American Saga Chapter 1. Release date is June 28th. It's going to be directed by Kevin Costner and starring Kevin Costner. So make sure you go check that one out. If you want to see it, go check out the trailer for that. Beverly Hills Cop Axel F is coming out on July 3rd, and that is a direct-to-Netflix movie. Director is Mark Mallow. Noteworthy cast is Eddie Murphy, Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and Kevin Bacon are going to be in it. But the entire cast comes back. I will do a synopsis of this. 30 years after Beverly Hills Cop 3, Eddie Murphy is back as fast-talking fish-out-of-the-water Axel Foley. This time around, the Detroit native has returned to Los Angeles to help out his daughter, Zola star Taylor Page. Expect familiar faces. Franchise mainstays Judge Reinhold, John Ashton, Paul Reiser, and Bronson Pinchot are in the mix as well. And the first film's signature mix of action and comedy. Maybe this means Sylvester Stallone will stop by for a cameo. Who knows? Maybe. But that is going to Netflix, so make sure you check that out. There's going to be a movie called Maxine. It's got the triple X's in it, so I don't know what that's about, but we'll look at the synopsis for that because that sounds interesting. Release date's July 5th. Noteworthy cast is Mia Goth, Elizabeth Debicki, and I don't know, Kevin Bacon's in that one too. Man, he's got a big summer of movies coming out. Says steadily emerging as one of the most dramatic horror pairings of the decade, director Ty West and star Mia Goth bring their X trilogy to a close with this impetuous slasher film. Oh, okay. So I guess you had to see the other ones to know what that is. Fly Me to the Moon, coming out July 12th. Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, Woody Harrelson, and Ray Romano are going to be in that one. Let's see. It's a quirky period comedy starring Scarlett Johansson and Channing Tatum, reunited after the Coen brothers' 2016 film Hail Caesar. Tatum plays Cole Davis, a NASA director entrusted with the Apollo 11 launch. Johansson is Kelly Jones, a Don Draper-esque marketing guru brought in to sell the moon when public support for the launch plummets. Okay, so Kelly's gonzo tactics go overboard when her boss, Woody Harrelson, asks that she stage a fake launch as backup. In other words, consider this the ideal date movie for that one hinge match who thinks Stanley Kubrick shot the moon landing. Fly Me to the Moon will debut theatrically, then stream on Apple TV+. Alright, and then Sing Sing comes out July 12th. Noteworthy cast is Cole Domingo. Let's see. Twisters. I'm kind of excited for this one. This comes out July 19th. Noteworthy cast Glenn Powell, Daisy Edgar-Jones, Maura Tierney, and Anthony Ramos. If you're one of those people who watch 2020's Delicate Sensitive, this guy should make an action movie about tornadoes, you're in luck. Twisters, a so-called standalone sequel to the 96 Sidewinder Spectacular Twister. Glenn Powell will have just charmed the pants off of you in Hitmen. The Normal People, starring Daisy Edgar-Jones, play storm chasers who go storm chasing. We finally get to see Maura Tierney in a weather-based film, something many of us have long desired. Anthony Ramos of the Doe Eyes is also in the movie. So I can't wait to see that. I'm going to have to watch the trailer for that. Deadpool and Wolverine. Release date is July 26th. Noteworthy cast is Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. That's going to be good, so definitely go check that out. The Instigator, released August 2nd. Noteworthy cast Matt Damon, Casey Affleck, Hong Chow, Ving Rhames is in it, so pretty decent cast. Go check that one out. Borderlands comes out August 9th, and that's going to have Cate Blanchett and Kevin Hart. And Jack Black and Edgar Ramirez. That's a pretty good cast of people, too. And then a movie called Trapped is coming out, and that's August 9th. It's by M. Night Shyamalan. So M. Night Shyamalan and his daughter both having movies out in the summer that they directed. Noteworthy cast of this one is Allison Pill, Haley Mills, and Josh Hartnett. I haven't seen Josh Hartnett in a movie for a long, long time. And then It Ends With Us. That's coming out August 9th with Blake Lively. She's a noteworthy cast of that one. The Crow, August 23rd. Noteworthy cast is Bill Skarsgård, FKA Twigs, and Danny Houston. 30 years after Brandon Lee played the comic book character, and 31 years after the tragic fatal accident on set that killed him, The Crow is getting a Hollywood remake. Hey, you know what? I might check it out. Blink Twice is coming out on August 23rd. That's with Channing Tatum, Christian Slater. Whoa. Where'd they get him from? Where'd he come from? That's crazy. So that's 2 movies for Channing Tatum in the summer. That's a big time for him. And that's it. So those are the 23 movies you should check out. If you want to see trailers, there's trailers for all those movies out there. Just go search them on YouTube. And oh my gosh, so I found this last week and I have to do this one. Being that I'm from a generation that supposedly never got insulted, we never got really upset, here's 13 comedies everyone loved that have not aged well. And you're going to love them all. Let's count them down. Let's go from... I'm going to try to go 13 to 1. If I can find 13 on this list at the end. I hate when they do this. I wish that they could just do it from 13 to 1. Alright, here we go. So number 13, Some Like It Hot. So there was drag in it. And I mean, back in the day, Some Like It Hot was a really good movie. People love it. I loved it. I saw the movie when I was younger. And it says, as awful as the film's gender politics feel now, in 1959, this was about as liberal as one could get. The film was condemned by the National Legion of Decency, a Catholic watchdog organization that monitored corruptive content. That was in 1959 when the movie came out. That's crazy. So let's go now. Number 12, the movie Big. I can see why nowadays, but here we go. This massive Tom Hanks comedy from the 80s about a 12-year-old who wishes to be big and wakes up as a 30-year-old has worked its way into the fabric of modern cinema culture. Older millennials and Gen Xers see this movie as part of a building blocks of their childhood and as part of the reason why so many people love Hanks. Arguably, he shines in this movie in a way that he hasn't since. In every scene, he sparkles with the wonder of a boy truly experiencing life through the body of a man. But there's one experience that feels very uncomfortable to watch. Hank's Josh begins a relationship with Susan, Elizabeth Perkins, a woman with whom he works. After some light courting, they sleep together. Hank's character may be 30 years old in theory, but emotionally, he's a little boy, and this is assault. Alright, and this is why I did this list, because it cracks me up that these movies from my childhood, or even before that, like Some Like It Hot was like 1959, but these movies from my childhood were very offensive in this day and age. They weren't offensive back then because we didn't get offended like this. We didn't think about the fact that he was a 12-year-old in a 30-year-old's body. We just thought, cool, he just made out with a really older woman, because technically he was her age in body, but in his mind he was still that 12-year-old boy. But you know what? I mean, she was hot. I mean, she still is. I've seen a picture of her recently. Elizabeth Perkins is a hot woman that he got to kiss and everything. I mean, that's an amazing thing. Like, every 12-year-old boy at that time when we were watching it, we're like, yeah, we wish we could get big so we could kiss Elizabeth Perkins too. But no, it wasn't offensive back then, and people need to stop nowadays. But let's go on to number 11, the movie The Hangover Part 2. And this movie isn't even that old. The Hangover movies were not even when I was a kid. These were movies that came out in 2012 or 13? That's not that long ago. Well, it is, but it isn't. The idea behind the first Hangover film, 3 friends black out and have to trace their way across Las Vegas, is kind of interesting. The Hangover 2 undoes all of that by repeating it exactly, but that's not the thing that's truly terrible about the movie. In a replica of the scene from the first film where Ed Helms' character Stu marries a sex worker in Las Vegas, it's revealed that on the previous night he hooked up with the trans woman. Stu literally falls over in his chair and begins crying. I mean, look, if you got that drunk and you slept with a tranny, you'd probably be like that too. I mean, look, I don't mind people doing that kind of stuff, like, being trans or whatever, but I wouldn't want to sleep with a trans. I'd probably be freaking out too. So that's not offensive. And if it's offensive to you, you need to get a life. This movie coming in at number 10 was one of my favorites. Wedding Crashers. Throughout Wedding Crashers, Vince Vaughn's Jeremy personifies the very worst of alpha male behavior. He's sexually aggressive with people that he works with. His character is ironically a divorce mediator, no less. He lies to women to sleep with them, and as soon as he meets a woman who wants to continue their relationship, he tries to run away. Shut up. Shut up. One of the best movies ever. Wedding Crashers. I love it. If you're offended by that, don't listen to my show no more. That's ridiculous. Number 9, Weird Science. Another one of my favorites. There's a moment where Lisa takes her creators to a blues club to teach them how to be cool. She dresses them in something appropriating zoot suits and gets them drunk. The moment they lose their inhibitions, the boys start speaking in an imitation of the African-American bluesman around them. I mean, come on. It was funny back then. And it's still funny now. It doesn't matter. Movie Knocked Up comes in at number 8, one of my favorites. Knocked Up is about Ben Stone accidentally impregnating Allison Scott. This comedy in this movie comes from the idea that a chubby doofus like Stone could sleep with the attractive rising star workaholic. This movie could have been a fun romantic comedy about young irresponsible people learning some lessons and growing up together, but the movie ignores that lesson by having every woman in it be essentially a non-character or puts the blame squarely on them. Abortion isn't even an option when the two strangers discover they're pregnant, which the Winter Guardian writer Joe Quinnan points out completely undercuts any tones of feminism. The term was brought up in the movie, but yeah, Knocked Up was a great movie. I love that movie. It's amazing. If you haven't seen it, it's with Seth Rogen and Katherine Heigl. Great movie. Definitely go see it. Number 7, National Lampoon's Animal House. John Belushi's Bluto watches women change through a window. At one point, some of the Deltas take their dates to see Otis Day and the Knights. When they arrive at the bar, they freak out because they're the only white people there. Another moment that's strangely played for laughs is when the Delta member, Pinto, tries to figure out if he should assault a girl who passed out drunk. Oh boy. These movies really don't age well nowadays, but they are still good. Trading Places comes in at number 6. Dan Aykroyd plays a wealthy snob who loses all his money to 2 other wealthy snobs and has to enlist a top of his game Eddie Murphy to help him pull off a scheme in order to get his money back. A large portion of the film is spent with the characters in costume on a New Year's Eve train bound for Philadelphia. Aykroyd's costume is a Rastafarian complete with blackface. I mean, the blackface thing, a lot of my friends that are African American do not get offended by that, because in these movies they're, okay, with him, he's playing a Rastafarian, so he's gonna have a blackface. I don't know, I don't find it offensive, but that's not on me, that's on people, so we'll see what people say about that. Number 5, I knew this would make the list, American Pie. American Pie focuses on 4 friends planning to lose their virginity before they graduate high school. Everyone in the school gets the link to Jim's webcam just in time for Jim and Nadia to begin to hook up. Unfortunately for Jim, he can't perform. It's not a heroic moment by any means, but the fact that the protagonist set up a camera to watch a woman change is entirely glossed over in the film. It's Nadia, who wouldn't have? Come on. Alright, number 4, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective. One of my favorite movies of all time. Even at the time of its release, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective was a terribly offensive film. First, there's Snowflake, the pet dolphin kept in a tiny tank that's clearly animal cruelty. No, it's not. Then a lengthy section of the film features Ventura prancing around a mental institution dressed in a pink tutu and acting out some kind of fox mental illness. Still not offensive. If it is to you, please leave the show. He smashes his head into a park bench and crosses his eyes while speaking in a manner even more affected than normal. Somehow that's not even the only offensive part of the film. The movie climaxes with Ventura exposing the over-libidinous Lieutenant Einhorn as trans by stripping her down to her underwear. Everyone begins to vomit in the throes of a gay panic. I love that movie. I don't care. I still watch it to this day. Number 4, Breakfast at Tiffany's. Oh boy. Yugashi is a Japanese photographer who lives in Golightly's apartment building. Rooney speaks in an accent, wears false teeth, and tapes his eyelids. It's hard to believe that people weren't upset with Rooney's portrayal at that time, but Rooney himself claimed that there was no racist intent in the character. Regarding later criticism, he said, "It breaks my heart. Never in all the more than 40 years after we made it, not one complaint. Every place I've gone in the world, people say, 'You're so funny.' Asians and Chinese come up to me and say, 'Mickey, you were out of this world.'" Yeah, I don't think it's offensive at all. I love Breakfast at Tiffany's. It's a great movie. Number 2, 16 Candles. If you haven't watched the classic John Hughes coming-of-age film in a while, then you may only have warm memories of Molly Ringwald navigating the strange world of high school dances, house parties, and that dreamy Jake Ryan. But that's overlooking the blatant stereotypes that play Ged wannabes, plays foreign exchange student Long Duck Dong. Dong is repeatedly referred to as a Chinaman. He can only verbalize things in a Mickey Rooney-esque shout, and at one point he shouts "Bonsai." As if it weren't bad enough, the second half of the movie follows Anthony Michael Hall's character, Ted, on a quest to sleep with any woman who will have him. He is finally saved when Jake tells Ted that his ex Caroline is so drunk that he could violate her 10 ways if he wanted to. Jake hands the keys to the father's car over to Ted, helps load Caroline in the car, and tells him to have fun. I mean, it is what it is. These movies are all funny. And then number 1, Revenge of the Nerds. The filmmakers depict this as casual college hijinks. Betty is totally fine with being assaulted by a stranger and used as a pawn in the frat's game. In real life, however, this would hopefully land Lewis behind bars for a very long time. Yeah, I mean, I love Revenge of the Nerds. I love all these movies. I think everybody does. They were great, but people do get offended. Speaking of offended, and this is a good segue into this, if you go to Barnes & Noble, the bookstore, you can buy Mad Magazine there again. The reason I say that is because Mad Magazine always had a lot of offensive stuff in it. The new one that's out right now is Treasure Trove of Trash, Volume 8. It's a 2024 Barnes & Noble edition. It was only $10, and I bought it. But it's got a lot of cool stuff in it. So definitely check it out. They do a parody of Sex and the City, trailer trash dating. So, this was a perfect segue into that. Because I was going to talk about my Mad Magazine, and then I saw that I saved that for a different week, but I was going to do it this week instead. So yeah, those are 12 movies that if you want to get offended, definitely go watch. Now let's go over the album that I did for this week. This one is by my friend Joselyn Rodriguez. She wanted me to do Veruca Salt. Everybody knows the band Veruca Salt is a band from the 90s, and they are from Chicago. It's a couple of women, really good singers, one of my favorite bands from that time frame. She wanted me to do the album 8 Arms to Hold You, which was from 1996. So, great album. Definitely, if you want to hear a album, especially if you're young and you've never really heard a 90s style album, definitely go check out Veruca Salt. This album from 1996 definitely has the big 90s feel. You could tell it was like a punk album. Really good. They do like pretty much punk and like folk music and all that. Really good band. I love 5 songs that I love off of this one. Volcano Girls, One Last Time, Benjamin, Sound of the Bell, and Loneliness is Worse. Those are my 5 favorite songs off the album. Great albums from cover to cover. I listened to it all last night, and it's 14 songs deep, so make sure you check it out. I give it 4 out of 5 records. I would definitely recommend it. If you want to check out a 90s album that really had that 90s feel to it, definitely go check that out. But thank you, Jocelyn, for that one. It was a great album. I love it, and I will definitely listen to it again. If you haven't have any requests of albums that I should listen to, I'm going to post it again on my TikTok. I'm going to post it on my Facebook. But definitely let me know what album you want me to check out from your favorite artist. I'll put you on my list of people. We've already done it a couple weeks now, and we've had some good ones. We had Veruca Salt today. Last week we had a good band that my friend Randy wanted to hear. Last week it was Within Temptation. That was a good one. And then we had, my boy had one too that he wanted to hear, and that was 3 weeks ago, and that was Nirvana's with Nirvana Nevermind, so that was a good one. And then the week before that, of course, I did Tay Tay's new album that just came out too, the Dead Poets one. So yeah, we've had some good ones. I'll have another one next week, but I need some more ideas, so I'm gonna write down the ones that we've had so far, and then I'm gonna pick from that list. But then also I need some new ones because I've already done 4 weeks of this, so let's keep it going. We're having fun. I'm having fun listening to older albums too. I mean, obviously I'll listen to some newer stuff, but I'm glad I'm getting to listen to some old stuff too. But yeah, so find out next week what album I'm going to listen to. I don't tell anybody until it's released, so nobody knows from week to week what I'm going to do. It's a surprise. I tag them in the post. They get to get excited over that and then do it from there. But yeah, so I'll see everybody next week. A little shorter show this week. We had a little less to talk about. Hopefully we're going to have some football news coming up soon. I'm getting that football lull going on right now. No big pay-per-views for WWE coming up, so next week we will go over the NBA and NHL second round playoffs, see where we're at there, and then we'll talk a little bit about, we'll figure some stuff out. We'll have some fun with it. If you have any topics you want to hear me talk about with sports, let me know and we'll talk about it on the show. All my information is down below in the section where you can read about the show. It'll have my email, my Twitter page, my Facebook like page. Come like that. It has my email address. You can email me, tell me how good the show is or how bad the show is. Anything you want to talk about, let me know. And then let me know what album you want me to review, and I'll add you to my list. Until then, happy Mother's Day weekend to all you mothers out there. I hope you guys enjoy this weekend. And on my Facebook pages, I'm going to re-release my Mother's Day special that I did through YouTube with Mother's Day music. So I'm going to replay that on there, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I'll be posting that for the weekend, so check that out with your mom and have a good weekend this weekend. Enjoy it. The weather's getting warmer a little bit than it was, and we're almost in the thick of the summer coming up, so make sure you stay tuned for more shows all summer. We'll be talking about a lot of fun stuff. I'll see everybody next week. Until then, peace out and have a great weekend. Peace.